Hello everyone, greetings to one and all. I welcome you all to our new episode on SAP Abap and Hana Questionnaire series. This is our sixth episode and we will be entering into the Hana domain through this episode. So these are all the five questions that we'll be dealing on today's session. What is code to data concept in Hana with examples? How can we determine row or column storage type of a table? Advantages of modern syntaxes in ABAP environment. Name some SAP ABAP and HANA components that cannot be developed in SAP GUI screens. And what is SAP HANA and SAP ABAP? So let's move on to the answers. What is code to data concept in HANA? Now, the idea of code to data concept is exactly the opposite of our traditional approach, wherein the data from the database layer will be taken to the application layer, and whatever code that has been written will be processed on the data that is present in the application layer that we took from database layer, and after the desired result is taken or desired result is calculated or processed, we'll display the results. So the entire logic or the processing happens in the application layer. So this is data to code concept. Now, what is code to data concept? The code that is present in your application layer will be taken to your database, and the necessary processing will happen at your database, and the desired result will be taken back to the application layer. So this is a theoretical explanation of code to data concept. So this is one of a key, critical, vital, fundamental element of ABAP and HANA, or in other words, a fundamental element or a fundamental concept that HANA supports that brings a major boost to the performance of the ABAP programs and objects. Now, how do we realize this code to data concept? I have a couple of examples here, case statements and arithmetic calculation, through which I'll be able to explain you the code to data concept. Now, let me show you some programming part here. So if you see here, this is our traditional approach. So what is the requirement here? Based upon a document type, you classify the classes of an order, and based upon the same document type, you are performing a calculation on the net value. So in a traditional approach, say if you have 1000 entries, I have to run the loop for 1000 times, and the loop runs while the loop runs for 1000 iterations, I'll be doing these classifications and the calculations. But in case of an ABAP and HANA concept, wherein the code data concept is introduced, I write this calculation in a form of case statement in the select query itself. So now I'm taking this classification processing and the calculation processing into the select query. So this go and gets applied on the database directly, brings out the result in a single step, that is in a single select query. So what do I do here? I take my code from the application layer to the database layer and bring back the desired result to the application layer. So just because you write code on an ABAP and HANA platform doesn't give you the guarantee that you are using the code to data concept. It's basically by using efficient syntaxes like this, what you are seeing here. Only these kind of concepts, when it is applied properly, we can realize the code to data concept. So now you can understand what will be the time taken for running the loop for n number of iterations, say 1000 or million or trillion, than doing the same in a single select query. Hope this will help you to understand the magnitude of the performance boost that HANA receives through this code data concept. Now let's move on to the second question. So how do you determine whether a table is a row storage or column storage? So this is pretty easier. So you go to any table, okay? You go to any table, and if you go to the go to option in the menu bar, technical settings, in the technical settings, go to the DB specific properties. You can reach out to the storage type and you can find what kind of storage this table is. So this being a HANA environment, predominantly many of the tables will be a column storage. Now moving on to the next question, advantages of modern syntaxes in ABAP environment. So what we have seen now as part of the first question is a classic example. So this example is sufficient enough in explaining you the advantages of using this modern ABAP and HANA syntaxes. Let me show you another example as well, wherein here the requirement is pretty simple. I have to append three entries. So when I have to append three entries, I have to write three append statements, and before that I have to load the work area with the corresponding value. Where in case of new modern syntax, it is just a single line wherein I load the data in a single step. Similarly, if I want to transfer data from one internal table to another, usually even if there are some, I mean, we are talking about a case where the database tables or two internal tables have different data structures. In that case, I loop at one table, I pass on to the work area, and then I pass on to the corresponding fields of the destination table work area, and then I will append it on the destination internal table. But in case of latest syntax, all this can be done at once. So imagine if you are dealing with say 10,000 entries, you have to run an iteration of 10,000 in the loop. But here it just gets executed in a single shot. So this is what gives a huge benefit to the performance of using the modern syntaxes. So in short, the coding efficiency, the optimization, and the performance boost are all the advantages of using modern syntaxes in a BAP environment. Now moving on, name some ABAP on HANA components that cannot be developed in SAP GUI screens. Now I can show this with a classic example wherein I'm going to open a CDS view for you. So this is a CDS. So when I try to click on edit, it gives me a message stating that you cannot edit this with standard editor. When I go on further to display, it will give me a message as this. It says that the use the editor ABAP DDL source code, part of ABAP development tools in Eclipse in order to change the DDL source code, which just means that you cannot edit this in GUI screens. You have to use the editing component in Eclipse to edit these components. So here you can see this is in CDS database view. If you want to see the code of it, you just double click on this data definition. You can see the code of it. And here, as soon as you open this, you will have a message that comes as a warning message at the bottom, which means data definitions can only be edited using ADT in Eclipse, which means that this is a CDS view. The same principle applies for AMDB procedures as well. Now let's move on to the last and the interesting question. What is SAP HANA and what is SAP ABAP? So there is a lot of confusion between HANA and ABAP. Let me keep it very crisp. HANA is an in-memory database platform which allows you to do in-memory database calculations. In short, it is just a database, in-memory database that's available for SAP. Whereas ABAP is a programming language using which we develop applications in the SAP ecosystems. That's it. So one is a database, another is a programming language. For now, this understanding should suffice. In my upcoming videos of my different series, I'm planning to give a detailed explanation of the advantages of HANA components, the development of HANA components, what is the critical difference between SAP, normal ABAP and HANA developments. So we'll be discussing all this as part of my different series. Do follow my channel for getting timely notifications of those videos. And also the syntaxes, whatever we have discussed about this modern syntaxes, I have discussed in detail in my another series called a technical tutorial, wherein I have so far discussed about three set of syntaxes. Each video covers two new syntaxes, wherein I have discussed about new syntaxes that are applied on the ABAP and HANA environment. I'll be keep producing more videos wherein I'll be discussing about different topics like syntaxes, ABAP and HANA components, the data dictionary components and whatnot. And I will also continue to provide more insights on the questionnaire series wherein I'll be dealing with some important questions on SAP ABAP and HANA. I hope you enjoyed today's session and video and I hope it helped you. So until I see you in the next video with some interesting questions, thank you all. Wish you peace and blessings.